What if you took one of the most fearsome predators on Earth and dropped it into a world that couldn't be more different from its own? No golden grasses, no blistering sun, just snow, ice, and silence. The lion, a symbol of dominance, muscle, and might, is nature's warm-blooded monarch. But in the Arctic tundra, warmth is a luxury. Here, fur isn't for show, it's a lifeline. And hunting, that's not done in packs under the heat. It's done in silence, under moonlight, with breath freezing in the air. Now ask yourself, could this king survive? Could the roar of the savannah echo across a land ruled by frost? Or would it vanish, swallowed by cold winds and harsher rulers? This isn't just a battle of beasts, it's a question of biology, a test of instinct versus environment. And in the frozen corners of our planet, there's only one law: adapt or die. Born for the heat, lions and their natural habitat. Lions are built for warmth. Everything about their biology, from the texture of their coat to the rhythm of their hunts, has evolved in response to the blazing sun and open landscapes of sub-Saharan Africa. They're not creatures of the forest or the mountains. They are born for the heat, the dust, the dry winds that sweep across the savannah. In these golden plains, lions thrive in temperatures ranging from 25 to 40 degrees Celsius, 77 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Their lean bodies are optimized to shed heat, not retain it. Their fur, though thick around the mane, offers little insulation against cold. Even their social behavior reflects the abundance of their home. Prides of up to 15 members, hunting together, resting in the open under shade trees, sprawling over sun-warmed earth. They are apex predators in an environment teeming with prey, wildebeest, zebras, buffalo, and yet they still struggle in colder African winters, sometimes seen shivering in the early morning chill. These are animals tuned like fine instruments for a very specific orchestra, the rhythm of the savannah. Remove them from this heat, and everything starts to unravel. So what happens when you take this solar-powered predator and place it somewhere utterly foreign? A land where the sun barely rises in winter and ice replaces sand. Would it adapt, or would the king of the savannah be dethroned by snow? Welcome to the Arctic. Now imagine waking up to a world where everything is white, where the ground crunches beneath your paws and the air cuts sharper than any fang. The Arctic tundra isn't just cold, it's merciless. Temperatures can plummet to minus 50 degrees Celsius, minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, and winter can last up to 10 months a year. There's no cover, no shade, and very little food. It's a place where survival isn't a game of power, it's a battle of endurance. Animals that thrive here, like polar bears, Arctic foxes, and musk oxen, are armored in thick layers of fat and dense fur. They move slowly, conserving energy. They've evolved to hunt in darkness, to dig through snow for scraps of life, to stay warm when warmth feels like a forgotten dream. But there's more. The terrain is alien. No wide open plains, no tall grasses to stalk through, just snow, ice, and the constant sting of wind. Hunting here isn't about stealth, it's about patience, and often it's about luck. Could a lion, a creature of heat, of speed, of sun-baked strategy, even function in a world like this? Could it hunt? Could it even survive a single Arctic night? That's the question we'll face next. Lion versus environment. The lion is a symbol of dominance, a creature sculpted by the sun-soaked savannas of Africa. But in the Arctic tundra, every evolutionary advantage it holds turns into a disadvantage. Let's start with the fur. A lion's coat, while dense for warmer climates, is no match for Arctic frost. It lacks the thick underlayer that seals in heat, like in wolves or polar bears. Frostbite would be inevitable. The pads of its paws, designed for gripping warm soil, would crack and bleed on the ice. Even a full-grown male's majestic mane offers little insulation in wind chills that can freeze exposed flesh in minutes. Then there's the diet. Lions are ambush predators, relying on short bursts of power and the element of surprise. But in the Arctic's barren openness, there's nowhere to hide. Prey here moves slowly, cautiously, and in smaller numbers. A lion's usual technique, stalking, sprinting, overpowering, would fail against the likes of reindeer or Arctic hares that sense vibrations and scent long before an attack. And energy? The constant cold would sap it. Every heartbeat would fight for warmth. Hunting success would drop. The lion's lean body would shrink. Eventually, survival becomes a daily gamble, and the Arctic doesn't play fair. So, could it adapt? Maybe, but not without a price. Not without becoming something else entirely, and by then, would it even still be a lion? Could the lion adapt? Adaptation is the great test of any species. It's what defines survival, not strength, not size, but the ability to change when the world refuses to. So, what happens when we take Africa's most iconic predator and drop it into the icy jaws of the Arctic? Let's be clear, the lion is not weak. It's a master of resilience in its own right. Over thousands of years, it's adjusted to dry seasons, prey migrations, and rival coalitions. It knows hardship, but what the Arctic demands is something more than hardship. It demands reinvention. For the lion to truly adapt, its body would need to change. Evolution would have to go to work. Over generations, perhaps its fur would thicken, trading golden sand for snowy white, like the polar bear or Arctic fox. Its limbs might shorten to conserve heat, its paws widen to walk on snow. Its metabolism would need to shift, burning slower, storing fat through long winters. Behaviorally, it might become more solitary, hunting in longer, patient intervals instead of bursts of chase. Social structures could dissolve. The pride system might collapse under the pressure of limited food and extreme exposure. But here's the twist. Adaptation takes time. Thousands, sometimes millions of years. Nature doesn't make exceptions. A lion dropped into the Arctic today would not have the luxury of slow change. It would have to survive now, with the genes and instincts of an equatorial hunter. That's where the fantasy cracks. And even if a miracle occurred, if a lion began to change, what would it become? It wouldn't just be a lion in a new coat. It would be something altogether different. A new predator, shaped not by the savannah, but by silence and snow. A creature born not of sunlight and dust, but of wind, ice, and endless night. So, could a lion adapt to the Arctic? Yes, if it had time, shelter, and generations of trial and error. But the lion we know, the roaring king of the grasslands, in the frozen tundra, it would be a ghost of itself. Who rules the north? If the African lion is king of the savannah, then who wears the crown in the frozen wild? Step aside from golden grasslands and look north, far north, past the boreal forests, beyond the ice-kissed mountains, into a place where the sun disappears for months and the air itself stings like a blade. This is the Arctic tundra, and its ruler is not a creature of pride and roar, but of solitude and silence. The polar bear. It doesn't broadcast dominance, it embodies it. Towering over 10 feet when standing, weighing over 1,500 pounds, the polar bear is a force sculpted by ice and time. Its white coat isn't just camouflage, it's armor. Its nose can smell prey a mile away. It doesn't run unless it has to. It doesn't roar to be heard. It survives by understanding the tundra better than anything else alive. While the lion thrives in a world of speed and spectacle, the polar bear dominates through patience. It can wait at a breathing hole for hours, unmoving. It can swim for days through freezing seas. Every action is measured, every movement controlled. In the Arctic, brute strength means nothing if it isn't paired with endurance. And no creature endures like the polar bear. So who rules the north? Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the one who outlasts the cold and everything in it. So, could a lion survive in the Arctic tundra? Not thrive, not reign, not dominate, just survive. After everything we've explored, its physical strengths, its behavioral traits, its genetic makeup, there's only one conclusion we can reach. Barely, and not for long. The African lion is a creature forged in heat and competition, in an ecosystem where power is broadcast with roars, battles are fought face to face, and the environment, though brutal, still offers abundance. But the Arctic is not a place of confrontation, it's a place of endurance, a place where patience matters more than pride, and silence is often the difference between life and death. A lion might survive a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but eventually the cold would steal its strength, the snow would mute its senses, and hunger would wear it down. And in the end, it wouldn't be a fight with a polar bear or a pack of wolves that ended the lion's reign. It would be the land itself, unforgiving, unrelenting. Because the Arctic doesn't just test your body, it tests your soul. The lion is a king, yes, but kings do not belong in every kingdom. In the tundra, the crown sits on a different head, one wrapped in white fur, one that doesn't roar, but survives. If this journey gripped you, if it made you feel the cold creeping in, if you imagined the lion's breath steaming in the Arctic wind, then you understand the power of adaptation, of evolution, of the raw balance that keeps ecosystems alive. Nature doesn't play favorites. It doesn't care about fame or fear. It reveals those who fit and punishes those who don't. And this was just one what if from the wild. So if you want to dive deeper into the most extreme animal matchups, if you're drawn to the edge where biology, behavior, and survival collide, subscribe to Wild Ciencias. We don't just talk about animals, we uncover the truth behind their power. What animal should we throw into the next impossible challenge? Until then, stay wild.